First contact deception. The immense flagship of the Galactic Coalition hung silently against the backdrop of Earth's moon, its sleek crystalline hull reflecting fractured sunlight. Commander Vexer stood on the observation deck, his forearms clasped behind his back as he studied the blue planet below. The Coalition's sensors had detected the primitive communications of this species decades ago, but only recently had the Seven-Race Alliance deemed Earth worthy of contact. "Preparations are complete, Commander," announced Subdirector Nalara, her translucent skin pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that indicated her excitement. "The contact vessels are ready for deployment." Vexar's vertical pupils narrowed as he turned to face his second-in-command. "And the surveillance network? Already in place. We've established monitoring nodes in their major population centers, military installations, and governing bodies." Nalara's tendrils twitched with satisfaction. "They haven't detected a single one." "Good." Vexar's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "Remember, the Council's directive is clear. We present ourselves as technological equals, perhaps only slightly more advanced. The humans must believe this is a meeting of near peers. With respect, Commander, is such deception necessary? Our scans indicate their most advanced weapons couldn't penetrate even our shuttle shields." Vexar made a guttural sound that passed for laughter among his species. History has shown that species who recognize their technological inferiority either become aggressive out of desperation or dependent out of fear. "Neither serves our purpose." He gestured toward Earth. "This planet contains rare heavy elements our coalition desperately needs. Better to harvest them through equal trade agreements than costly military action. And if they discover the truth, by then, it will be too late." At United Earth Defense Command Headquarters in Geneva, Admiral Helena Chen stared at the holographic projection of the alien vessel. For 3 days, the massive ship had maintained its position behind the moon, launching smaller craft that now hovered in Earth's upper atmosphere. "Their message continues to repeat on all frequencies," Admiral reported Communications Director Okafor. "They request a formal diplomatic meeting." Chen's weathered face remained impassive, though her mind raced with calculations. After decades of wondering if humanity was alone in the universe, first contact had arrived with suspicious timing, just as Earth was recovering from the resource wars and beginning its expansion to Mars. "What's your assessment, Dr. Reyes?" she asked the xenobiologist standing nearby. Dr. Reyes adjusted her glasses nervously. "Their physiology scans match what they've shared. 7 distinct species forming what they call the Galactic Coalition. They claim to have evolved in similar stellar conditions across neighboring systems. And their technology. That's where things get interesting." Reyes projected a new set of diagrams. "They've been very forthcoming about their propulsion systems, communication arrays, and even some weapons technology. All of it is impressive but plausible. Advancements we might achieve ourselves within the next century." "Too convenient," Chen murmured. "Ma'am." Okafor looked confused. "They cross interstellar space, but their tech is only marginally better than ours. Evolution produces 7 compatible species in neighboring systems." Chen shook her head. "No. Either they're hiding something, or they're lying about who they are." Chen turned to the third person in the room, a silent figure wearing the insignia of Earth Intelligence Services. "Colonel Takeda, your thoughts?" The intelligence officer stepped forward. "We've been monitoring unusual energy signatures at multiple locations globally, microscopic fluctuations that began precisely when the coalition vessels entered orbit." "Surveillance," Chen concluded. "Almost certainly, and far more sophisticated than anything they've disclosed having." Chen's decision was immediate. "Accept their diplomatic invitation. Full honors, red carpet welcome. Meanwhile, I want 2 parallel operations. First, standard diplomatic protocol, cultural exchange, technological discussions, the works. Second, establish shadow protocol." "Shadow protocol, Admiral?" Reyes asked, unfamiliar with the term. Chen's eyes hardened. "We show them exactly what they expect to see. a hopeful, slightly naive species eager for galactic friendship. Meanwhile, we find out what they're really after. The diplomatic welcome for the coalition representatives unfolded with all the pomp that Earth could muster. 7 alien delegates, one from each species, descended from their shuttle in New York's hastily renamed Unity Plaza. Global broadcasts showed humanity's leaders greeting beings of remarkable diversity. The tall, 4-armed Varaxians, led by Commander Vexar, the bioluminescent, tentacled Niller represented by Subdirector Nillera, the insectoid Sith, the gaseous Erhun contained in mechanical walking suits, and 3 other equally exotic species. For Coalition Intelligence Officer Krex, observing from a cloaked position above the ceremony, something felt wrong. The humans were reacting exactly as predicted, with awe, excitement, some fear, but mostly diplomatic professionalism. Yet there was a precision to their responses that seemed rehearsed. Central Command, this is Observer Krex, he subvocalized into his neural transmitter, requesting deeper background on human leadership, particularly Admiral Chen. The response came after a brief delay. Helena Chen, Earth Defense Force Admiral, career military officer. Notable achievements include tactical command during the resource wars and development of Earth's first Mars colony. Psychological profile indicates methodical thinking, strategic patience. No unusual flags. Krex remained unsatisfied as he watched Chen personally greeting Commander Vexar. Her smile seemed genuine, her words properly diplomatic, yet her eyes, they moved with too much purpose, studying the alien delegates not with wonder, but with assessment. Continue observation, Krex's superior ordered. But remember your primary mission. Yes, Director. Locate and secure access to Element 317 deposits. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility unknown even to most of Earth's governments, Dr. Sanjay Patel examined the microscopic alien device under a quantum microscope. The surveillance node had been discovered purely by accident. A maintenance worker at a Tokyo water treatment plant had noticed unusual readings on his personal electronic detector, a hobby device he built himself. Incredible, Patel whispered as he manipulated the 3-dimensional holographic representation. The power source alone is decades beyond our current capabilities. Across the laboratory, his colleague Dr. Amara Washington was analyzing the device's transmission patterns. It's sending compressed data bursts every 73 seconds, practically undetectable unless you're specifically looking for them. And now that we are looking, Patel brought up a global map where thousands of tiny red dots were appearing. They're everywhere. Major cities, military installations, communications hubs. Washington looked grim. This isn't the behavior of peaceful visitors. No, agreed a new voice as Admiral Chen entered the laboratory. It's the behavior of conquerors assessing their target. She studied the map with narrowed eyes. What have you learned from the device itself? Patel's expression shifted from concern to something close to excitement. Everything, Admiral. Their miniaturization technology, quantum encryption methods, energy generation, it's all there in this single device. Can we reverse engineer it? Better, Washington interjected. We can modify it. She projected a complex schematic. We believe we can alter these nodes to feed false data back to the coalition without alerting them to the tampering. Chen nodded slowly. Show them exactly what they expect to see. There's more, Patel added. Based on the materials and quantum signatures in this device, we've identified a technological vulnerability in their systems. Their entire tech base appears dependent on quantum-locked crystalline matrices. And, Chen prompted, and we've already been developing similar technology ourselves, just along a different evolutionary path. Our quantum disruption research from Project Prometheus could potentially interfere with their systems. For the first time in days, Chen allowed herself a small smile. How quickly can you weaponize this knowledge? Patel and Washington exchanged looks, with global resources diverted to this effort. Weeks, not months. You have 2 weeks, Chen stated flatly. Meanwhile, Our guests are expecting me at tonight's cultural exchange banquet. Her expression became a practiced mask of diplomatic warmth. Mustn't disappoint them. Commander Vexer found human cuisine distasteful, but maintained his diplomatic demeanor as he sampled the carefully prepared universal dishes at the banquet. The Coalition's xenobiologists had worked diligently to create food compatible with all 7 species' digestive systems, though the results were bland at best. Admiral Chen, he acknowledged as the human leader approached his table. Your species' hospitality continues to impress. We're eager to build lasting relationships, Chen replied smoothly. Though I must admit some disappointment at the slow pace of our technological exchanges. Vexer's mandibles twitched imperceptibly. According to their surveillance, Earth's scientists were struggling to comprehend even the basic principles behind the simplified technologies the Coalition had shared. These things take time, Admiral. Cultural understanding must precede deeper technological integration. Of course, Chen nodded. We're particularly interested in your propulsion systems. Our Mars colonies would benefit tremendously from faster transport. Yes, your Mars efforts are admirable, Vexer replied, the slight pause calculated to remind the human of their technological gap. Perhaps we could arrange a demonstration of our shuttle capabilities. That would be wonderful. And in return, perhaps you'd allow a delegation to visit our Prometheus research facility. It's our most advanced quantum laboratory. Something in Chen's tone triggered Vexer's instincts. The surveillance data hadn't indicated any significant quantum research program called Prometheus. I'm sure that could be arranged, he said carefully, though our schedule is quite full with planned diplomatic functions. Chen's smile remained unwavering. Of course. No rush. We have all the time in the world. As she moved to the next table, Vexer immediately summoned a secure channel to the Coalition flagship. Intelligence Director, initiate a deep scan for any research installation designated Prometheus. Priority override. In orbit above Earth, the Coalition's sophisticated sensors reoriented, searching for the energy signatures typical of advanced quantum research. They found nothing unusual, exactly as Admiral Chen had anticipated. The real Prometheus facility had been moved entirely offline 3 days after the Coalition's arrival, its research continuing in a massive underground complex shielded by experimental quantum damping fields. There, the brightest minds on Earth worked frantically to adapt the principles discovered from the alien surveillance node into weapons capable of neutralizing Coalition technology. While public broadcasts showed continuing diplomatic exchanges and cultural celebrations of humanity's first alien contact, a shadow war of intelligence and counterintelligence unfolded. Coalition observers reported a primitive species eagerly embracing their new galactic neighbors, while carefully edited sensor data showed no unusual military activity. Behind this facade, Earth's unified nations had achieved something unprecedented in human history. Perfect cooperation driven by perfect fear. Production facilities around the globe worked around the clock, manufacturing components for weapons whose purpose most of their workers couldn't begin to understand. As the 4th week of alien contact approached, Coalition Commander Vexer grew increasingly confident. Initial surveys had confirmed massive deposits of element 317, the rare heavy element essential to Coalition quantum technology, concentrated particularly in Earth's southern hemisphere. The diplomatic mission had successfully established a baseline for future mutual assistance agreements that would essentially grant the Coalition mining rights. The Council will be pleased, Vexer told his command staff aboard the flagship. This planet will supply our needs for at least 3 centuries, and the humans suspect nothing. Sub-Director Nalara, however, seemed less convinced. The humans are too cooperative, Commander, especially this Admiral Chen. My cultural analysts report inconsistencies in behavior patterns between public and private interactions. Of course there are inconsistencies, Vexer dismissed. They're maintaining diplomatic facades. As are we. It's more than that, Nalara insisted. They're showing us exactly what we expect to see. Vexer's mandibles clicked with irritation. You think these primitives, barely a century into space travel, are capable of orchestrating a deception against the Coalition. Their most advanced weapons are nuclear fission devices and kinetic impactors. Perhaps, Nalera conceded, but recommend proceeding with caution nonetheless. Vexor made a dismissive gesture. The extraction fleet arrives in 3 days. By the time the humans realize our true intentions, our forces will be established and resistance will be futile. What neither of them knew was that every word of their conversation was being monitored. The Coalition's impenetrable quantum encryption had been compromised 2 weeks earlier, after Earth scientists discovered that the surveillance nodes used a predictable encryption seed based on universal physical constants. In her command center beneath Geneva, Admiral Chen listened to the translated conversation and checked the deployment status of Earth's new defensive systems. 3 days until the Coalition's extraction fleet arrived. Ready the final preparations, she ordered, and send today's briefing package to all command-level officers. Operation Trojan Horse begins at dawn. The Reckoning. The Coalition extraction fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel with precise coordination, 57 vessels of varying sizes appearing simultaneously at predetermined positions around Earth's orbit. The massive ships dwarfed even the diplomatic flagship that had been humanity's first alien contact, their crystalline hulls bristling with previously concealed weapon systems. On the flagship's command deck, Commander Vexor observed the deployment with satisfaction. Commence the occupation protocol. Neutralize their primitive orbital defenses first, then establish control zones over major population centers. Commander, Subdirector Nalera interjected. Should we not first attempt the diplomatic solution? Offer them protectorate status in exchange for cooperation. The Council has decided, Vexor replied coldly. This species has limited value beyond the resources their planet provides. Analysis indicates a high probability of resistance regardless of diplomatic approaches. Better to demonstrate overwhelming force immediately. The Coalition's complex battle network activated, quantum processors calculating optimal targeting solutions for Earth's known military installations, satellite networks, and population centers. Within seconds, targeting locks were established on thousands of objectives. Weapons charge, announced the tactical officer. Awaiting your command. Vexor's 4 arms executed the formal gesture of commitment. For the Coalition, commence firing. Nothing happened. The tactical officer frantically manipulated his console. Sir, weapons systems are not responding. Targeting locks have dissolved. Impossible, Vexor hissed. Diagnostic scan. Before the diagnostics could complete, a new alert blared across the command deck. Multiple energy signatures detected. Earth's surface and orbital positions that were previously empty. Suddenly, the main view screen filled with the image of Admiral Helena Chen, her expression no longer diplomatically accommodating but coldly triumphant. Commander Vexor, she began without preamble, your extraction fleet has entered a defensive grid of our design. Your weapons are temporarily neutralized by targeted quantum field disruptors specifically calibrated to your systems. Vexor's compound eyes widened in disbelief. This is not possible. Your species doesn't possess such technology. We didn't, Chen acknowledged, until you provided us with working examples through your surveillance network. Quite careless, leaving advanced technology scattered across our planet. As Chen spoke, previously invisible defense platforms materialized around Earth, their cloaking systems deactivated to reveal weapons of unmistakably human design, yet incorporating distinctive elements of Coalition technology. You have 2 options, Chen continued. Withdraw immediately to a distance of not less than 5 light-years, or face the consequences of your attempted invasion. Vexor's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation among his species. You bluff. Even if you've developed some primitive countermeasures, you cannot stand against the full might of the Coalition extraction fleet. Chen's smile contained no warmth. Perhaps a demonstration is in order. She nodded to someone off-screen, and moments later, 3 of the smallest coalition vessels erupted with blindingly bright energy discharges. When the light faded, the ships drifted powerless, their crystalline hulls now dull and lifeless. Targeted quantum matrix disruption, Chen explained. Your ship's power systems rely on perfectly aligned crystalline structures. We've simply introduced some chaos into that order. Panic spread across the coalition command deck as status reports flooded in. The disabled ships were completely without power, life support functioning only on emergency backups. Worse, the disruption effect appeared to be spreading through the quantum-entangled communication network that linked the fleet. Disconnect from the battle network. Vexor ordered frantically. Isolate all ships immediately. But the Coalition's greatest strength, its integrated quantum communication system, had become its greatest vulnerability. As ships disconnected to avoid contamination, their coordinated defense capability crumbled. Aboard the Earth Defense Force flagship Prometheus, Admiral Chen watched the Coalition fleet's formation disintegrate into individual units attempting to restore their systems. Beside her stood Dr. Patel and Dr. Washington, the scientists who had reverse-engineered the alien surveillance technology. The disruption cascade is working exactly as predicted, Washington noted, studying the tactical display. Their quantum entanglement network is carrying our interference faster than they can isolate it. And our ground batteries? Chen asked. All reporting operational status, confirmed General Takeda, now revealed as Chen's military second-in-command rather than a mere intelligence officer. The Coalition landing forces attempting to deploy are being neutralized before they reach the atmosphere. Chen nodded with grim satisfaction. Launch Phase 2. Across Earth's surface, concealed missile silos opened. But instead of conventional nuclear weapons, these launchers contained something new. Quantum disruption missiles, specifically designed to target the Coalition's crystalline technology. Simultaneously, squadrons of fighters emerged from hidden bases, their hulls incorporating reverse-engineered alien materials that rendered them nearly invisible to Coalition sensors. On view screens across the Coalition fleet, Admiral Chen's face appeared again. Your invasion force is currently experiencing what we call a systemic technological cascade failure. Your weapons are offline. Your communications are compromised. Your sensors are feeding you data we control. She leaned forward, her voice hardening. This is humanity's only warning. We have studied your technology. We have adapted it. We have improved upon it. Each moment you remain in Earth space, more of your vessels will lose power. To emphasize her point, 5 more Coalition ships suddenly went dark, drifting helplessly in orbit. In the flagship's increasingly chaotic command center, Vexor struggled to maintain control. Restore power to affected ships. Launch countermeasures. We can't, Commander, the tactical officer replied, mandibles trembling. The humans have introduced some kind of recursive error into our quantum matrices. It's spreading faster than our systems can compensate. Impossible. Vexor slammed his fists down. They're primitives. They couldn't possibly understand our technology well enough to. But they did, interrupted Nalara, her bioluminescence pulsing with agitation. I warned you they were too cooperative, too perfect in their responses. They were studying us all along. A new alert sounded. Proximity warnings. The tactical display showed small human vessels approaching, maneuvering with impossible precision through the disorganized Coalition fleet. They're attaching devices to our disabled ships, reported the sensor officer. Boarding parties? Vexor asked incredulously. No, Commander. The devices appear to be propulsion units. On the main screen, Admiral Chen explained, we're attaching temporary drives to your disabled vessels. They'll activate automatically in 5 minutes, propelling those ships out of Earth orbit on a trajectory that will take them beyond Mars. Consider it a gesture of mercy. We could destroy them, but choose not to. Vexor's compound eyes narrowed with hatred. The Coalition does not surrender to primitive species. We still have operational ships. We will. You will do nothing. Chen interrupted. Because in approximately 3 minutes, your flagship will also lose power. As if on cue, warning lights began flashing across the command deck. Systems reported cascading failures throughout the ship. The quantum core, the heart of the vessel's power and computing systems, was destabilizing. Evacuation protocols. Vexor ordered all personnel to escape craft. But before anyone could move, the doors to the command deck slid open. Standing there were 5 humans in advanced combat armor, led by a tall woman Vexor recognized as General Takeda. How they had boarded the flagship undetected was incomprehensible. Commander Vexor, Takeda stated calmly, you are requested to accompany us to negotiate the terms of your fleet's withdrawal. In the secure conference room of the Earth Defense Force headquarters, Commander Vexor sat alone at one end of a long table. His 4 arms were unrestrained, a pointed reminder that his captors did not fear him. Across from him sat Admiral Chen, flanked by representatives from Earth's major nations. How? Vexor finally asked, mandibles clicking softly in humiliation. How did primitives like you overcome our technology so quickly? Chen's expression remained impassive. You made a fundamental error, Commander. You judged our civilization's advancement by obvious metrics, space travel capabilities, visible weapons technology, energy production. But humanity's true strength has never been our technology. What then? Vexor demanded. Adaptation, Chen replied simply. Throughout our history, we've faced existential threats, from nature, from each other, from our own technological missteps. Each time, we've adapted. When presented with your surveillance technology, we didn't just study it. We reimagined it, reconfigured it, repurposed it. She leaned forward. Your coalition developed along a single technological path, refining and perfecting it over centuries. Impressive, but predictable. Humans take technological leaps in chaotic, unpredictable directions. We don't follow paths, we create new ones. Vexor's compound eyes fixed on Chen with new understanding. The Galactic Council will not accept this defeat. They will send more ships, different technologies. Perhaps, Chen acknowledged. But by then, we'll have learned even more from your vessels. And we won't be confined to Earth. She gestured to a view screen showing human ships already salvaging technology from disabled coalition vessels. Your invasion fleet has provided us with enough advanced technology to accelerate our development by centuries. For the first time, Vexor felt something his species rarely experienced, fear for the future of the coalition itself. These humans didn't just defend themselves. They transformed threats into opportunities with alarming speed. What are your terms? He asked quietly. Chen's response was immediate and non-negotiable. The coalition will acknowledge Earth and its solar system as sovereign territory. All coalition forces will withdraw beyond 5 light years. A neutral zone will be established and monitored by both parties. Any coalition vessel entering this zone without explicit permission will be considered hostile and destroyed immediately. And in return, we won't pursue your retreating forces. We won't immediately weaponize everything we've learned from your technology against the coalition. We won't share our countermeasures with other species you may be visiting. The implied threat was clear. Humanity now possessed the means to potentially dismantle the coalition's technological advantage across the galaxy. 3 days later, the remnants of the coalition extraction fleet limped away from Earth's solar system, many ships operating on emergency power or being touted by those still functioning. From the observation deck of the Prometheus station, Admiral Chen watched them go, her expression thoughtful. They'll be back, remarked General Takeda, standing at her side. Perhaps not for decades, but eventually. With new technology, new strategies. And we'll be ready, Chen replied. But not just waiting here on Earth. She turned to face the assembled leadership of Earth's unified defense forces. Today we implement the second phase of our response, Project Diaspora. On the main display, a map of nearby star systems appeared, with dozens of trajectories emerging from Earth in all directions. The coalition made the mistake of coming to us, Chen continued. They revealed their technology, their weaknesses, their existence. Now humanity will do what it has always done when faced with new frontiers and new threats. She gestured toward the stars displayed before them. We will adapt, we will expand, and we will never again be vulnerable to those who mistake our peaceful nature for weakness. Dr. Washington studied the proposed expedition routes. Many of these systems are likely within coalition territory or influence. Precisely, Chen nodded. We'll establish hidden outposts, gather intelligence, build alliances with other species they may have subjugated. The coalition sought to make Earth a resource extraction colony. Instead, they've awakened something they never anticipated. As the meeting continued, discussing the rapid development of Earth's first true interstellar vessels using adapted coalition technology, a message arrived from the long-range monitoring stations. The last of the coalition ships had passed beyond the 5-light-year boundary. Earth was, for the moment, safe. But Admiral Helena Chen knew this was not an ending, merely the first engagement in a longer conflict. Humanity had survived first contact, not through overwhelming force, but through intelligence, adaptation, and the uniquely human capacity to transform adversity into advantage. The stars awaited, and humanity would meet them not as naive explorers, but as a species that had learned its first interstellar lesson well. The galaxy was not always welcoming, but humanity would make its place among the stars nonetheless. And the coalition would remember the day they learned that humanity's greatest weapon was not technology, but ingenuity.